try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. Shall we start here on the daily? Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the overarching narrative that Bitcoin could be going into a bear market. Is Bitcoin about to start a bear market, or is this the last flush out that we needed to see of all the leverage longs before Bitcoin could rally all the way back up to $125,000, the all-time high, and well beyond, all the way up towards eventual price targets that many people have of between $135,000 to $190,000 this year? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about, and most importantly, we are going to be providing you with the tools to succeed in this market, because unfortunately, a lot of people got burned on Friday and over the weekend, and even with Bitcoin's kind of failed bounce that we're seeing right now that we're about to analyze, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of fear. It is my job to help bring peace. That's my job, is to help you bring financial peace, and then on top of that financial peace, prosperity. If you are looking for wealth in crypto and you're looking for getting a good night's sleep while you built it, then this is the channel for you. Today, I am going to go over exactly where I think Bitcoin is going, and I'm going to go over exactly what you need to do to build wealth while not pulling your hair out and looking like you're 80 when you're 25. Welcome to the stream. Today, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin through the lens of fence off. We've got a lot to cover. My goal for this stream is your anxiety level is lower when you leave than it is now. See, that's one of the reasons that this channel has grown to almost 250,000 subscribers, is because when crap hits the fan, people realize that what we teach is sound. What I teach is battle tested, and it looks lame when Bitcoin is exploding. It looks boring when Bitcoin is rallying. But when Bitcoin is falling through the floor and everybody else got liquidated and we didn't because of what we teach, then you realize why I talk about the things that I talk about. Then you realize why I prioritize the things that I prioritize. And I'm not saying that to brag. I am, however, saying that to say that what you are looking for right now, which is stability and growth of your portfolio, you will find here, probably better than anywhere else on YouTube as it relates to crypto. So, let's get started. Oh man, I'm so excited to be here today, guys. I'm so excited. I love what I do. I love showing up here every single morning on stream and on videos, on Twitter, on X, I guess, on Discord, everywhere, helping you guys succeed. That's my dream. This is my dream come true. This is what I live and breathe for, man. It's so exciting. Sean O'Brien's in chat, Crypto Stone's in chat, Rajesh is in chat, Joe, Coden Ken, Patrick, Pat B, Bring Beer, Anthony, Louis, Luciano, Shiraz, Peter Lou, Anthony, BG, and Jonah, and a lot of other people in chat. Are we going to see an Uptober or not? That's the question. Maybe my hair will go up. I've been so busy with the baby lately. I need to get a haircut. Go ahead, mock me. Let's see it. I want to see all the funny hair jokes you can give me in chat. Go ahead, make fun of me. I want to see them. I don't care. I'm really not insecure at all about it. Let's do it. This right here from Crypto Rover, I believe accurately personifies everything that people are scared of right now. That the bull market is almost over. Is the bull market almost over? We are now almost 600 days post-halving. We know that bull markets historically have topped out in Q4 of the odd year. So Q4 of 2017, Q4 of 2021, Q4 of 2025. Are we about to top out right now? That is the question. It kind of looks like it. Is the 4-year halving cycle going to play out? I have been I have made public statements that I think the four-year halving cycle is either dead or dying. And the reason that I believe that the four-year halving cycle is either dead or dying is because, quite simply, we live in a very different market than we did in 2017 and in 2021. Having lived through both of those blow-off tops, I can tell you that there are a few very key similarities that can be even seen from this chart. The first one is that we did see a parabolic rally at the end of those cycles. We saw Bitcoin rally by well over 1,000% in the final year of the bull market. That has not happened. That has not even come close to happening at any point over the last 2 years. Bitcoin has not rallied into a parabolic blow-off top where we exploded even on the log chart. It hasn't happened. On top of that, we have seen massive institutional inflows, on average, over the last 2 years into Bitcoin. In the case of BlackRock, for example, we have seen not just BlackRock, but all the Bitcoin ETFs. I don't know if this chart down here is going to load. There's normally a chart right here. Here it is. We have seen over $60 billion of cumulative inflows into Bitcoin ETFs over the last 2 years since they launched. We also have an administration that has admitted to being massively invested in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. They have a vested political and monetary interest in the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market performing very well. So when I say that the four-year halving cycle is dead or dying, what I mean is that the timing might be changing from here and the severity might be changing from here. It's not to say we might not have a bearish Q1 or Q2 of next year. We could. We absolutely could. But I don't think you're going to see an 18-month bear market. I don't think you're going to see a 73% drawdown. I don't see Bitcoin going down to $40,000. That makes exactly zero sense, considering that the ruling party in the United States of America, who is driving the entire cryptocurrency market, as we just saw on Friday, I mean, come on, is a major investor of Bitcoin. That doesn't make any sense to me. What makes sense to me is that Bitcoin goes up over time because of the debasement of the United States dollar. And if you need to see any more evidence of that, all you need to look at is M2. The M2 money stock is exploding, and you need to look at Dixie. The Dixie is showing the dollar struggling very severely over the course of this year. The Dixie, since the beginning of the year, is down 10%. In other words, the United States dollar has lost 10% of its value against all of the other world fiat currencies. How do you lose 10% against all of the other fiat currencies that are not the reserve of the world? How do you pull that off? That's kind of impressive. Bitcoin is on a logarithmic linear, on the logarithmic chart growth trend. What I mean by that, we're on the log chart, and on the log chart, we have a line that underpins the bull market. So long as Bitcoin stays above this basically bullish safety line, then Bitcoin is most likely continuing on up towards $150,000 to $200,000. We have not confirmed a bear market. We haven't done it. Bitcoin has traded sideways for a very long time up here. But if anything, honestly, that just shows me that Bitcoin is confident above $100,000. If we set a horizontal line at 100K, not the interval, sorry. If we set a horizontal line here at $100,000, Bitcoin is showing extreme confidence up here above 100K. It's not to say we might not drop back below it. We could. But it doesn't mean that we're going to. What I see is that so long as Bitcoin holds above this uptrend, which funnily enough on Bitfinex, that's exactly where we wicked down to, was this uptrend on the daily chart. So long as we stay above this, then Bitcoin is in the strongest fundamental bull market that we have seen in history. On the linear chart, this looks like a curve, and it starts to look somewhat parabolic, right? Because, of course, the logarithmic chart is just that. It's parabolic growth. So on the linear chart, that same line looks like this. See? Any of you math whizzes out there will understand that this is actually the same line, just plotted differently. And so with Bitcoin holding this line, if you extrapolate it out on either the linear chart with a curve or on the logarithmic chart with it straight, then what you'll end up seeing happen is that this line by the end of next year is pointing at over $200,000 a coin. It's easier to see on the log chart, so let's go ahead and adjust back to the log chart. Oh, look at that. You see? Look at that. That's so fun. I just love it when you discover something on TradingView. Look at this. If we draw the line as a curve on the linear chart, then it will stay in place on whichever chart we draw. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. God, you got to love that. While we're here, you know what? Let's build a chart together. I love building charts with you guys. Let's build a chart together. While we're here, we've also got this line over here that we want to show you. Right? Let's do this. Yep. So you take these two lines. Oh, it's just beautiful. They match each other. Let's take this one off for a second. But you can see the point. The point is on the logarithmic chart, this is linear growth, which means it's parabolic growth on the linear chart, right? It's linear growth on the log chart, it's logarithmic growth on the linear chart, and vice versa. It's pointing at over $200,000 by the end of next year. That makes sense. It really does. And if we break down from here, it makes sense that we would probably rally back up above it. If we drop back down to $80,000, it makes sense that Bitcoin would rally up to there. We've got hundreds of billions of dollars of inflows coming in. So let's kind of break down what we're going to talk about on stream into a couple of different topics. The very first thing I want to talk about is where Bitcoin is going in the short term. Because as we look down here on the minute chart, even the 15-minute chart, actually, let's look at the hour chart. We've had, I think, 13 straight hours of red candlesticks. 9 straight hours, and then a 12th right there, right? Straight vertical correction. So let's talk about that. Second thing I want to talk about is the long-term outlook on Bitcoin. Where are we going this year? Where are we going next year? What would possible bear market scenarios look like? What would bear market bottom scenarios look like? What bear market bottom scenarios should we plan for? What levels should we keep any liquidation prices on long-term holdings below, etc.? From there, let's go ahead and talk about what we should do strategy-wise. All right, starting with the short term. We have a downtrend that Bitcoin had built right here before Trump made his announcement on Friday and crashed the price of Bitcoin. This downtrend looks a little bit like this, and it is basically a reflection of this uptrend. If you draw the angle here, this is basically a 90-degree angle. This is the market, as you may have never seen it before. My concern is that this is technically one giant head and shoulders pattern. If we do rally up here and test this and we don't break this downtrend, then Bitcoin has established one massive head and shoulders pattern with an uptrending level of support right here. And the price target on that would be $94,000. Wait a minute, that number sounds familiar. We have a CME futures gap down there. CME futures gap sits right here at approximately 91. So if we did build a head and shoulders pattern, we could drop down to $91,000. Right here, little bounce, break down. Let's say we rally up to 118 and we stop. Got yourself a nice, beautiful, awful head and shoulders pattern. Breaks down, fills that CME futures gap down there. So that's one scenario. By the way, if that happened, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You think, oh my gosh, Jeb, this is awful. You've still got this uptrend on the linear chart. Like, even if we break the uptrend on the log chart, which, heck, maybe the uptrend on the log chart's too aggressive. Maybe we can't hold it. So, if we fell down here to $90,000, would that really be the end of the world? Not necessarily. Because we have the uptrend on the log chart, right? You know, we've talked about that. But this uptrend on the linear chart's beautiful too. We could just try and hold this. We could drop down to $90,000 and have ourselves a little miniature bear market. Everybody, and this flush out all the longs, freak everybody out. We drop 25%. Everybody calls that the bear market, and we just move on. I mean, in the stock market, you drop 25%, that's a bear market. That's what that is. It's a bear market. Anything over 18% is a recession. 25% is a deep bear market in the stock market. So if this uptrend fails and we drop back down to 90, I don't think that necessarily means we go down to 50. There's a very high possibility that you'd see a buttload of buying down there below 100K, considering we've sat above $100,000 for, let's do the numbers here. Let's see. We've sat above $100,000 for over 6 months. So if we did drop below $100,000 down here to 90, that's okay. Now, that said, you need to be prepared for a $90,000 drop. We're going to talk about the bullish in a minute, but right now I want to talk about the short term. And the short term is precarious. It is precarious. If you are going to buy and hold for 5 years, just smash buy. Fine, go for it. If you're going to buy and hold for 5 years, you have your fully funded emergency fund. You have a stable income, and you're going to hold for 5+ years, smash buy. That's what I would say do. Not financial advice. Consult a financial advisor. That ain't me. I looked into being a CFA. They don't let you talk about everything that I talk about. So not really interested. Might end up becoming a CMT. Thinking about that. But CFA, not a CFA. Don't want to be a CFA. Not my thing. Don't want to be a CPA. Not my thing. consult your financial advisor. If you're going to hold for 5 years and you have a fully funded emergency fund, you got a little bit of cash on the side, smash buy. 111 is a great price. In 5 years, it'll be a 500 grand, and you'll have 5 extra money, and you'll have outperformed pretty much anything else that you could have done other than like angel investing in a startup. So, you know, if you smash buy at 111 and you're in a position where you're not going to get shaken out because you have financial sovereignty over your portfolio, then fine, smash buy. You know, it's great. On the other hand, you need to be prepared for the possibility that Bitcoin, as I said, could drop down to 90. I hope that we continue in the bull market. I hope that the bull market goes up to $200,000, and I think it will. But it is very possible that we're in a different kind of cycle this time, guys. It's very possible that the way that the 4-year halving cycle is dead is that we're not going to see a bear market down to 50, but we're also not going to see a rally all the way up to 160 and then a bear market. Honestly, what makes the most sense from a TradFi standpoint is that Bitcoin would return back down to this baseline at 90 to 95. That's what I think. That's what I think would make sense from the TradFi perspective, which is what we are doing. This is a TradFi market. And if you think about it, we drop back down here to the baseline. Nobody wanted to hear about that. We drop back down to 73. That's what I told you would happen back in the day. I said we drop back down to 73. And when we did, we would fill the CME futures gap. That's exactly what happened. And you know what I did? I put like $150,000 into Bitcoin down there. If Bitcoin breaks this uptrend, then Bitcoin will likely retest 100. If Bitcoin breaks 100, it will likely fall back down to this uptrend, and it will stay below $100,000 for probably less than a few weeks. And everybody will crap their pants, and the smart investors will buy and buy and buy and buy and buy and buy. And honestly, I hope this happens. I hope that we drop down to 93, fill the CME futures gap. And here's why. Because I hope the 4-year halving cycle is dead. And if we drop down from 125 down to 94, that means that we will be at a low right in the middle of Q4, which means we will probably bounce moving into Q1 of 2026, which will basically completely be the inverse of what the 4-year halving cycle teaches, which will most likely end the 4-year halving cycle. I hope that's what happens. I really do. And there's a real possibility that that's what's going to happen, is that you're going to see Bitcoin do this number. Let's zoom out, right? We've got this long-term uptrend of resistance that we've been looking at. Let's not analyze on the CME chart. Let's analyze over here on, let's do it on Bitfinex. Go on the regular chart. Got our uptrend here. We got our CME futures gap right around 93 or so. Right there's your CME futures gap. And then if we zoom out, we've also got our ultra long-term uptrend, right? You know about this. You know about our extremely long-term uptrend of resistance, which is on the log chart, actually. So let's go ahead and draw that on the log chart. It's interesting because we're looking at two different levels, and one's on the log and one's on the linear. But on the log chart, we have that line, right? So it is very possible that what we end up seeing happen is Bitcoin drops back down here, down to 92 to 100, somewhere in that box. You get a once-in-a-generation buying opportunity on Bitcoin that you won't take because you have no savings and you're freaked out and you're going to panic sell. That's why we follow the FinSov way, so we don't have to panic sell. And then from there, Bitcoin bounces and then rallies. And where would it rally? It would rally back up to that line on the log chart, which sits right up here at like $130,000 to $150,000. At that point in time, you have a high enough bounce that Bitcoin would probably break through it. I mean, this right here, the price of Bitcoin went up 70%. If we drop back down to 93, let's say, and we rallied even just 46%, you're back at that uptrend, and it would probably break. So short term, long term, that's what I'm looking at. Bitcoin is showing very little strength. If you draw a fib off of what happened yesterday, we just rejected off of the 0.382 at 116. This is a textbook example of weakness. When you go through a crash, how far you bounce tells you a lot about how strong the market is. Bitcoin did not bounce all the way back up to the 0.618, in which case we still would be having difficulty going back to all-time high, of course, because if we showed enough weakness that we didn't get back all the way back up to the high, then, of course, that's weakness, right? But we only bounced to the 0.382 on the fib. That's not great. The only way that could be worse is if we only bounced to the 0.236, which was at 113.7. So I need to see Bitcoin get at least above this fib before I can be bullish. 130 by October 15th, Trump killed that. We probably would have hit that without that news, without that announcement. Probably would have happened. The crash that happened on Friday, all those predictions got to go completely out the window. This is a completely different market today than it was before Friday after what happened with that liquidation event. That liquidation event has put us in an entirely different landscape that makes a large correction more likely. So, here's my stance, and then we're going to talk about what we're going to do about it. My stance is that until Bitcoin can reclaim at least the 0.5, ideally the 0.685, which is up here at $120,000, I'm bearish on Bitcoin. I don't know how you get a more confirmed downtrend than what we've seen today. I don't know how you get it. So, if Bitcoin rallies up above 116, great. But for now, this is a very strong double top with a ridiculously powerful rejection. You can look at all of the different moving averages. You can look at all of the different technical indicators. None of them are looking that great right now. We're below the 20 daily exponential moving average. MACD is firmly bearish. RSI is firmly bearish. We got a head and shoulders pattern that could be forming here. A lot of people that otherwise would be buying the living hell out of Bitcoin are very freaked out right now. The only thing that I can tell you in good conscience is that we are in a downtrend. And while it could correct, we could go into a rally because the news of the China fear is gone. The news of the China fear is gone. We can't say that with confidence until we actually see it. Because here's the other thing that concerns me about the way the market's looking right now. J.D. Vance and Xi Jinping basically announced that everything that Trump was talking about is off the table. Like, they basically completely walked back all of Friday's comments, which is what we said would happen. It's a pain in the neck. It's basically exactly what we said was going to happen. And here's the difference. When Trump started talking to the bounce, the difference between that was negative $5,500. Because theoretically, the fundamentals are in the exact same position as they are here and as they are here. Because here, we had no issues with China. Here, we had no issues with China. Because J.D. Vance announced that we're walking basically all of it back. And Bitcoin is still down $5,500 from there. So here's my opinion. My opinion, as an analyst, is that this liquidation candle is probably going to be the disbelief phase of the bull market, where people are in disbelief. And I'm not in disbelief. I want to make my position really clear here. I'm not in disbelief. I'm being cautious. According to the 4-year halving cycle, we should see a blow-off top coming soon. The problem is, time's running out with that narrative, because the 4-year halving cycle takes place in Q4. There's only 80 days left of Q4. If we don't see the blow-off top start at some point in the next few weeks, that narrative falls apart because Q1 is supposed to be a bear market. And so the narrative aligns with the price, and then the price goes lower because it's following the narrative. It's a little bit like if you tell somebody that already hates themselves that they're stupid, they're going to believe you. But if you give them a compliment, they're not going to listen to you. Right now, people are not listening to the bullish narrative of a blow-off top because the price is down. But if the price is down in 3 months and we tell them that it's time for a bear market, they're going to believe it. They're going to believe it. So we have tailwinds in the sense of great institutional investment. Strong backing from big players. I mean, Larry Fink was on 60 Minutes on Sunday, I think it was, talking about how great of an asset Bitcoin is. Bitcoin's going to be fine. Again, this is not the end of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be at $1 million by 2035. This is all a hiccup. It don't freaking matter. Buy and hold. But the reason that we're talking about the possibility of a correction down here to 92 is that I think some of you guys are not prepared for that eventuality because you don't have savings, because your income is not as stable as you need to be. Maybe you're not working as much as you need to be. Maybe you're not providing value into the market. Maybe you had 100% of your net worth in your Perps account and just got blown up and you got nothing left. Regardless of what you're witnessing right now, this is the application. And I'm so serious that this is the application that I'm willing to have a one-on-one conversation with you and go through your personal finances and help you with this. If you guys don't know, I'm also a financial coach. One of the things that I do, one of the many things that I do here, is I help you guys with hands-on teaching. If you guys don't know, I am a financial coach. You can sign up and you can have a 1-hour session with me And I will go over all of your finances. I will look at your portfolio and I will tell you what I would do. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to make investments for you. I'm not going to tell you what investments you should make. But what I can do is I can help you reach peace. Because a lot of you guys can't sleep at night right now. And I want to help with that. Here's what I would do. I would make sure that I had at least 3 to 6 months in savings, according to the FinSoft way. I would make sure that I had a budget. I would make sure that I had no personal debt, especially high interest debt. Okay, fine. You've got a 0% interest debt that you don't have to pay for 12 months. I don't like it, but fine. Whatever. It's not that bad. I would make sure that you have a surplus of income that's not just trading. Trading is great. Trading is what rich people do. Broke people that trade end up kind of losing money because they're desperate. You need to be in a position of strength and confidence. I want to help you with all of this. And I'm so serious about it that I even just opened up my weekends. If you guys don't know, I have financial coaching. I normally charge $400 an hour. Because so many of you are hurting right now, I have made 2 concessions on that. Number 1, I'm going to allow the JEB20 coupon code to be applied here. That'll take $80 off of my session fee. Number 2, I've opened up my Saturdays because I love you and I care about you. I've opened up my schedule a lot. Literally, right now, and for a limited time, because this is going to be hard for me, but I'm going to do it because I want to help you guys. Monday through Thursday, I am available 24/7. If you want to meet with me at 1 o'clock in the morning to talk about how crap just hit the fan in your portfolio and you need help figuring it out, my financial coaching is available from midnight to midnight. Right now, Monday through Thursday. Today's already Tuesday. So you got tomorrow and the next day. And then I've also opened up my Saturdays. My wife has even said, go for it. People need help. From 9 a.m. to noon. If you guys need my help figuring out how to get back on track, I run the financial sovereignty way. And it is exactly what you need right now. And it does involve a lot of Bitcoin investing. It does involve DeFi. It does involve crypto. It's a huge part of it. I encourage everybody that goes through the financial sovereignty way to live on a Bitcoin standard. Okay? So these are not 2 competing ideas. If you want to succeed in crypto, I will personally help you with everything that I have learned. Guys, I have fumbled, I have succeeded, and I have learned a lot along the way. And I would love to help you. If you're interested, all you got to do is click the link in the description box down below. It's going to take you to this page right here. 20% off coupon code for a limited time only. I don't know how long I'm going to run this. Probably for as long as I see a need in the community where you guys really need the help. And I would be more than happy to help you at any of those times. By the way, one other thing I want to mention is that JEB20 is also available right now for the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. If you want to go back to basics and learn how to do TA so that you can understand what the market is doing, what it's going to do, so that you can make sure you are always prepared, because I cannot stress this enough. I want you to sleep at night. When you're home with your kids, I want you to be home with your kids, not in investing land. I want you to have the freedom that you don't have to say, man, I have to go back and grovel to my boss, who I just told to shove it a week ago. I want you to have peace. And the way you get peace, what are the fruits of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace. It's the third one. Joy and peace. That's what Jesus wants for you. He wants you to have joy and peace. I want you to have joy and peace. You should have joy and peace right now. But you have the market. I know. And there's a way that you can run your finances where you have joy and peace right now. So, I'm opening up all of my products right now. The Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, where you can learn how to actually do TA, so you know what's coming and you know how to prepare for it. The Financial Sovereignty Academy, where you will learn the FinSov way, so that you can have peace and joy with your money. And also my own financial coaching. All of it 20% off right now. And I've opened up my schedule on coaching so that I can meet with you anytime you need, because I understand a lot of you guys got 9 to 5. I'll meet with you at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll meet with you at 8 o'clock at night. I'll make it work for a little while. Not going to do that forever. So that's for a limited time, because I got a schedule. But I'm going to move my schedule to meet yours, because there's a real need in the community right now. And we've got a 20% off coupon code on it. Do yourself a favor. Sign up for CT2A so you can understand how to read markets. Over 5,000 students have already done it over the last 7.5 years. It is the oldest, most respected technical analysis academy in crypto. Make sure to sign up for financial coaching so I can meet with you one-on-one and help you get on track. And make sure that you continue to build financial sovereignty and invest in Bitcoin. Because here's what I am trying to convey. You need to be prepared for a drop down to 90,000. And I want you in a position that if we did drop down there, you don't break a sweat and you're buying. I want you to be buying down there. Because what I think is going to happen is at some point in the next year, you're going to see Bitcoin trading at $150,000 to $200,000 a coin. And I don't want you to get shaken out. Because a lot of you guys right now are selling at a loss. Because you're screwed. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You're having to sell at a loss. I don't want you having to do that. So I want to help you with that. Let's read a little bit of chat. Really appreciate you guys being here. Honor God with your wealth. That's right. Got to buy the dip. TBH, I'm interested in the hour convo with Jeb. I would love it. I have never. You know what's funny about my financial coaching? I've done since I launched it 61 coaching calls. I've done 61 coaching calls. I think is what it says. I have a full, no questions asked, money back refund guarantee. Nobody's ever taken me up on it. Not once. No questions asked. I'll give you money back. No questions asked. If people took advantage of that, I would stop doing it. But nobody's ever taken advantage of it. No questions asked. I will give you your money back. If it was not worth every penny, I will give you all of your money back. That's how confident I am that I can help you and make it worth your time. Because here's the thing. The reason that financial coaching costs what it does is because I can help you get on a path where your net worth will be significantly more than $320 when you fast forward a few months to a few years. Because you can run as hard as you want in the wrong direction, and all you're going to do is get farther away from where you want to be. My job is to put you on the right path, and then you go do the running. I will show you how to build a massive amount of wealth. I've done it myself. I will teach you. Then you do the work. That's worth a lot. So check it out. If you've been stacking crypto for 4 years, you can pay $400. Yep. Because there's the thing. I thought at the beginning about making it free, right? I don't need the money. I thought about making it free. But people don't take it seriously. And you just get a bunch of people in there that just want to say like, oh my gosh, Jeff, you know, and they aren't, and people aren't taking it seriously. I want you to take it serious. I want you to take it seriously. The purpose of what we do here at Crypto Jeb is to keep you safe, to bring you peace, and to protect you while you prosper. I want to make something very clear. Your prosperity is secondary to your peace. If you have breath in your lungs, you have more prosperity than the souls in hell. If you achieve peace, you are richer than 95% of the world. I would love for you to be fabulously rich and have 100 acres and a Lambo, and I can show you how to do that too. But you get to peace first, and then you get there. In that order. Because wealth gained by vanity will soon be diminished, but he that laboreth shall increase. Get to peace, build wealth from there for the kingdom of God. You will have so much joy. You will have so much peace. You will have such a great time with your spouse. You'll have so much fun with your friends. You will have such a great relationship with your kids if you're not constantly stressed out about money. Money is the single biggest issue in marriages in the United States of America. Single biggest thing that couples fight over, and it's the single biggest thing that couples divorce over. And it always comes back down to two problems. One, there's a lack of peace, or two, there's an abundance of greed. Your relationships will suffer if you do not have your finances in order, or at the very least, you're not on a path to get your finances in order. Maybe you haven't made it there yet. But if your finances are not in order or on a path to get in order, your relationships will suffer, and your level of peace and joy in your life is directly correlated with how your relationships are doing. I will show you how to have peace with your money. It's that simple. Yard Dog just donated $100 again. Thank you so much, Yard Dog. Really appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Ouch, this isn't a fun video. No, it's a hard video. It's a convicting video. I didn't bring you here to entertain you. If you want to be entertained, go watch some crap on Netflix, man, or Disney Plus or whatever. I didn't bring you here to be entertained. I brought you here to save you from your own foolishness. That's why I do what I do every day. Is because I get behind this mic and sometimes I look at myself in the camera. I'm like, dang, you're an idiot, Jeb. What are you doing? And sometimes I look at you guys. I'm like, what are you doing? And you know what? I know how to help. I know how to help. If you go to church every Sunday and you don't walk out feeling convicted about something, man, your pastor needs to get a new job. Maybe it needs to be a car salesman, making you feel good about yourself. If you're freaked out right now, that means something went wrong. If you don't have peace today, that means something went wrong. I'll show you what it was, and I'll help you fix it. Because I want you to have... Life is too short to be stressed out about money. Life is way too short to be stressed out about money. You know, our small group, our home group at church, we went and visited a lady, and she's on hospice right now, at home hospice, and we went and sang her a couple of songs. That lady was just sitting there, and tears were coming down her. I mean, she was just crying and crying and crying. She was so happy. She held our baby. She was just so happy. You know how much money means to her? Zilch. You know how much more peace she has than half of you guys when she's probably got a month to live? Because her relationships are good. She's got people around her. Because she's not stressed out about finances. Because she has the Lord. I tell you the truth, that lady is richer than probably 80% of people watching this stream. And she got nothing. She doesn't even have her health. She can't hardly move her left arm. But she has Jesus. She has peace. She has people. That's true wealth. Anyway, so we need to prepare for a possibility of a breakdown to 92. If you're in leverage positions, either you leverage your investment account or you're in some kind of leverage, whatever it is, you need liquidation prices below 90. Or you need to not be in the position right now. You need liquidation prices below 90, or you need to cancel or you need to just exit. I do believe that there's a high possibility that Bitcoin's going to go through a very large breakout in Q4. I do believe the 4-year halving cycle is in the middle of dying. What I also believe is that the fundamentals of Bitcoin right now and the technicals are precarious, to say the least. And if Bitcoin does break below 110, which is our current level of support, then we're probably going to go considerably lower from there. You could see Bitcoin dropping down to 105 or something. Now, the good news is, out here on the 8-hour chart, you can see RSI got extremely oversold, down to 25. But it did bounce, and it's up at 36, so we could theoretically drop back down there again. Right? If we draw a fib right here, you can see the 0.5 is at 100. A revisit of $100,000 is more likely today than it has been in months. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I am saying, and this is the main point that I keep repeating over and over and over again in this video, is that you need to be prepared for the possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you need to be prepared for the possibility. Oh, by the way, I need to mention this. Do not go into long positions right now. Don't. Do not. Every single one of you needs a break from leverage trading. Do not go into long positions. Do not go into short positions. We need the market to establish structure. It's almost like the market began right here, and everything behind here doesn't matter anymore. This is one of the things you got to keep in mind when a massive event like this takes place. It's like taking the chessboard and throwing it in the air. It's completely different. Anything that we said before D-Day over here on Friday is out the window. The fundamentals completely changed everything. Totally changed everything. Totally changed everything. And so right now we need to see if Bitcoin is going to establish a double bottom and it's going to bounce, or if Bitcoin's going to break this uptrend. Here's another uptrend to look for. Here's something you should draw on your chart. This uptrend right here. That uptrend. If that breaks, we're going lower. We're going lower. So, bottom line, sit in cash. If you don't have 3 to 6 months of savings, get there so that you're okay during a bear market. Remember, the purpose of the 3 to 6 months of savings has two purposes. One is to prevent you from going back into consumer debt. And two is to prevent you from liquidating investments at bad prices. That's something that you need to remember, is the importance of the 3 to 6 month emergency fund. It is to stop you from going into consumer debt, and it is to stop you from having to liquidate investments at poor prices. If you do not have 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, you need to put some love in that direction in your budget. Let's read a little bit of chat. The dude said, appreciate your truth, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. I don't have the marbles for leverage. Buying like my life depends on it. Crypto Ned Flanders is wrong. What am I wrong about? Why wouldn't you just get a job instead of living off of savings? Of course you should get a job. I'm saying that, if you're in a position where, my point is that you need 3 to 6 months of savings so that if something does happen, you're not liquidating crypto at $70,000 a coin to cover an emergency. Buying only spot, holding strong. Moves like that, though, usually shake out weak hands. Here's what I'm hoping for. What I'm hoping for is that this was the disbelief phase. Bitcoin cycle. Let me see if I can find this picture. What I am hoping for, and what, honestly, there's a pretty good chance of, is that what we just saw was, let's see, where is it? Show me the chart. There we go. What I'm hoping for is that what we just saw was disbelief right there. This rally will fail like the others. And then hope, optimism, belief, thrill, euphoria. I'm hoping that that's what we see. That's what I'm hoping. We don't know whether or not that's going to happen, though. We don't know. So I'm not saying that we should, just dip and say the bull market's over. But I am saying that we need to be ready for it. You're on the Wall Street cheat sheet, right? Disbelief. That's where we probably are right now. Most likely we're in disbelief. And Bitcoin in the next few days will establish some kind of confidence to the upside, and we'll head back towards all-time highs. That's probably what will happen. But we need to be in a position to prepare for it. By the way, here's another piece of something that you should do. If you have cash to invest in Bitcoin, you should not deploy all of it. I'm not talking about savings. I'm talking about cash. I would not deploy all of it. That's something I want you to keep in mind. Is it okay to buy spot right now? Absolutely. Great time to buy spot right now. You just shouldn't put all of your money into buying spot right now because we could go lower. Only put in when you can afford to lose. Buying HODL has always worked out. It will. That is right. That is right. Canceled Netflix. Good idea. Yard Dog deserves free sessions. Yard Dog has my phone number. Yard Dog and I have talked on the phone plenty of times. My brother and I go way back. He's a good guy. That's very sweet of you. Buddha Beats. Yard Dog deserves free session. He does. And he's gotten it. I've talked to him several times. I have his phone number. We text sometimes. Any possible trading ongoing or coming up soon? Probably. I mean, we'll look for positions in the next few days. We're not quite ready for that yet. It's going to take a bit of time before we can get, ready for that. You need the market to build some market structure. Because again, and here's another little nugget of wisdom for you to think about. If the market basically just completely reset on Friday, that means this is all the market structure we're dealing with. That ain't much. That's really not a lot to go off of. Because to be honest with you, when you have a major event like this, what you do in technical analysis is, in large part, you basically just pretend like everything that happened before the event just doesn't exist. I mean, the levels do matter, but especially in the short term down here, you can't even see them. Everything that happened on the short term is way up here. What does that matter? We're not up here. We're not up at 120. This is all we got to go off of. There's nothing here. There's no structure for you to trade. I mean, the only structure that you could trade is be like, okay, on the 1 hour chart, we're breaking above this. Fine. You could have put an entry right here at 110. It would have been a decent entry if you had a tight stop loss, right? You could have done that. Probably would have done okay. There's some opportunities. And again, I'm not against trading. You just need to keep the majority of your money in spot. So yeah, that's that. Let's read a little bit more chat. Complacency phase followed by denial. Probably. Living paycheck to paycheck waiting for these pumps. Sound advice. Today looks like anger phase. Yep. Very true on everything you're saying, Jeb. Yep, I am right on it. I'm right. Anxiety was Friday's dip. That's right. What about all the ETFs? Here's what about all the ETFs. Monday saw a $326 million outflow. Funnily enough, though, IBIT still saw a net inflow. That's interesting. Money flew out of Bitwise. Money flew out of Fidelity. Money flowed out of everything, actually, except IBIT. That right there is one of those little canary in the coal mine signals you need to pay attention to. Money flowed out of everything except BlackRock's fund. Very interesting. It's very interesting. BlackRock knows something. I mean, Larry Fink just went on 60 Minutes talking about how great Bitcoin is. Bitcoin's going to be fine. Okay, let me make this clear, because I don't feel like I've been clear enough. Here are my two scenarios. This might make this easier for you guys to understand. Here are my two scenarios. Bitcoin bounces here and goes to $150,000 to $170,000, or we drop down to 90 and then we go up. Those are my two scenarios. The third scenario of going into a bear market down to like 50K and then rallying next year is possible, but I would say at this point unlikely. At this point, I would say a drop down to like 50 to 60K is unlikely. If so, we have this support here at $73,000. If we drop back down to that level, that'd be a 42% crash. Bitcoin would probably see an enormous amount of buying at 74. I know I would be buying a lot at 74, and we would probably bounce. There's way too much fundamentals, way too much bullishness in the Bitcoin market since the ETF launched. Since the ETF launched over here, the largest percentage correction that Bitcoin has seen has been a 30% drop. If Bitcoin dropped 30% from the current highs, oh, guess what? We'd be back at 91,000. So here's my prediction. 50-50 chance. Bounce at 110K or drop to 94K. There you go. I spent the whole stream trying to distill that down. Here's my prediction for now. 50-50 chance we bounce at 110 or we drop down to 94. Both scenarios do not lead to a bear market, but an explosive rally to above 125K ATH within 3 to 6 months. Following Friday's events, that's what I'm looking at. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change this a little bit. I'm going to say 45 chance and a 10% chance of bear market down to 75K, then bounce. This is how I currently feel. This right here, I have peace with this. This basically completely sums up how I feel. Hopefully this is helpful. I know I've kind of been all over the place today. This is how I feel. 45% chance that we bounce at 110 or we drop down to 94K. Both scenarios do not lead to a bear market, but explosive rally above 125K ATH within 3 to 6 months. And then a 10% chance of a bear market down to $75,000 and then bounce. And I would call a drop down to $75,000 a bear market because it would be the largest correction that Bitcoin has seen since the launch of the ETFs. And I highly doubt that Bitcoin will ever go back down to $50,000 because that was the price of Bitcoin when the ETFs launched. When you saw the gold ETF launch, we go back on gold spot. Gold briefly dropped back down. Sorry, that's not the gold launch. Let's go back over here. Gold never went back down to the same price that it was at when the ETF launched at like $400 an ounce. Never went there again. Never touched it ever again. Never happened. In fact, in the 7 years following it, the largest correction we saw was 27%. We saw 33%. Of course, later on in the early 2010s, we saw 45%. But we never saw a drop back down to the price that gold was at when the ETF launched. Never happened. So I Highly doubt you'll ever see a $50,000 Bitcoin again. I'd give it a 10% chance you're ever going to see a $75,000 Bitcoin ever again. And I'd give it a 45% chance that you're going to bounce at 110, you're going to drop down to 94K. Both scenarios do not lead to a bear market, but explosive rally above $125,000 within 3 to 6 months. Here's how you need to prepare for this. First and foremost, if we bounce at 110, then we're at bottoms, so you can consider long trades. I would be really careful with that, though, and use tight stop losses. I mean, guys, we got to stop risking more than 2 or 3% of your position size when you're entering into leverage trades. You really got to do that. It's all about the risk management. Either the trade works or it doesn't. Oh, and by the way, on the weekly chart, let's just go ahead and show this. On the weekly chart, this is part of the reason I'm saying there's a 45% chance right now of a drop down to 94. This is the weekly chart 20 EMA. I don't really like that. I don't really like the fact that we're sitting right there on top of that. Not a fan. Anyway, theoretically, in this first scenario, this first 45 of a bounce here, it's a good entry for a long. It could be. You can go into a long right now, but just know you're taking a big risk because we're in a precarious situation right now. We might bounce, we might hold, but it's precarious. So just be careful. Be really, really careful, especially if you're revenge trading. If you have any shred of emotion, sit out of the market for a week. There will be other entries there. Believe me, there will be more bullish markets than this. Okay, you will get another chance of Bitcoin looking more bullish than this because it don't look great right now. Okay, if we drop down to 94, you need to be in a position that this doesn't shake you out. This is the key. You need to be in a position where a drop down to $94,000 doesn't cause you to sell Bitcoin at a loss or at a low. That you need to be in that position where a drop down to 94K doesn't shake you out. Would $94,000 Bitcoin shake you out? Fix it. Live on less than you make. Build savings. Whatever you need to do. Drive liquidation prices if you have them way below 94. And you also need to have this in the back of your mind. What are you going to do if Bitcoin drops down to 75K? Are you in a position where you have cash to invest? You should be. Are you in a position where you don't need to liquidate Bitcoin at 75? You should be. These are all things you need to consider. You need to take this prediction that I've made based on our technical and fundamental analysis and convert it into a game plan, which is part of the reason why financial coaching is something I've been talking about, because I want you to have a game plan to be ready for these kind of scenarios. This is what I see the likelihoods being. So a bigger chance for a big drop. Honestly, right now, yep. Right now, yes. I hope I'm wrong. Bear market confirmed? No. No, bear market is not confirmed. However, it is more likely right now than it has been in a great long time. Nah, he's telling the odds of things that happen. And I could be a little bit off on that, but that's basically what I feel is happening. That's what I think. That I have peace with that prediction. And I hope it's the 45% chance we bounce here. It's basically a coin flip. If we go below 100K, it could be a bear market. The only thing that I'm saying there is that there's also this, other than $100,000, there's also this very strong uptrending level of support. There's also the very strong uptrending level of support that we could bounce at. So yeah. But hey, the good news is I'm giving it a 90% chance with that prediction that Bitcoin holds this line. I really think it will, because if we did have to drop back down to that line, oh my gosh, the bears would be so exhausted that people would be buying like crazy at 94 to 100. And by the way, in fact, I need to update this. Drop to long-term linear chart uptrend, because it's not actually 94,000. It's this uptrend. So I need to change that lingo there. Yeah, because it's not exactly 94. It's this uptrend, and where that uptrend is depends on the date. So that we need to change the wording there. So right now, I would foresee that probably being about 94, but it might be 96. You might, and what this might look like is Bitcoin sends a candle body down to 100, and we wick down to 95 for a liquidity grab, and then we bounce. That would be a fulfillment of that. We can wick down there. We could close a daily candle above 100, have a wick down for a liquidity grab, liquidate a bunch of people that put their lick prices at 98 because they thought it was low enough, and when instead they should have put their lick prices at like 92. Reduce the leverage by 10%, and then be safe. So this is what I think. This is what we're going to go with. October 15th, 130K was on the table, and I did think that was going to happen until Trump blew up the market. And if you can't understand that predictions got to change when the fundamentals change that large, then you, my friend, are the one that needs to understand how analysis works. because predictions have to update when data updates, and the data is completely different today than it was a week ago. That was a valid prediction that I fully stand behind with what we were going on at the time. But as soon as Trump announced that he was going to put 100% tariffs on Bitcoin, on China, and we saw $20 billion of liquidations, everything has to change. So this is what I'm looking at right now. You guys can tell me in the description, in the comment section, and in the chat what you guys think, but that's what I'm looking at. We're going to wrap it out here pretty soon. Want to go ahead and read some chat. Want you guys to be ready for things. What happened to the FinSov Academy? It's still there. It's still there. Jep, could you give me some money when Bitcoin drops below 75K? I don't think that'll happen. It could happen, but I don't think it will. There's no 4-year halving cycle. There is a macro liquidity cycle. That just so happened to line up with the halving. The macro liquidity is coming at the end of the traditional 4-year cycle this time. You're right. And if we start seeing Bitcoin break up above certain levels of resistance, like up above 116, 117, then this prediction will probably go out the window. This prediction will probably go out the window if we see some more bullishness from the short-term chart on Bitcoin. This is all contingent. You know what? Let's add this here. So long as Bitcoin is steady below 118K, then there we go. Let's add that in there. That also makes that, I also feel better about that. That feels closer to what I believe. So long as Bitcoin is steady below 118, which is still the point of control because that didn't change much. Let's look at the daily chart. POC. Point of control is right. Ooh, wow, it's down at 116 now. That kind of makes sense, actually. That does make sense with all of the volatility that took place there. So I'm going to say, let's see, where is that? I'm going to say 116. So long at, yep. My goal is that I have a, I've been doing analysis for years at this point. So long as Bitcoin is steady below 116, this is my prediction. If Bitcoin is steady above 116K, here we go. I like this. So long as Bitcoin is steady below $116,000, then a 45% chance of this kind of drop in the bear market, etc. If Bitcoin is steady above 116K, then I'm going to say $130,000 to $150,000 by year's end. That's what I think we're looking at. So I'm not saying to sell. I want you to be very clear. I want to be very clear on that. People are saying, Jeb, you're a bear. I never said sell. I didn't say sell. Hodl straight through it. I'm not selling. I'm not telling you to sell. Do not sell. Don't sell. I'm not saying that. Don't sell. That's not what I'm saying. You know what? I feel like somebody's going to say that, so I need to be very clear. Okay. Had to put this here just because I know what I'm going to... People are going to say, oh, Jeb, you told me to sell. Don't look. No, I didn't say that. Do not sell low if at all possible. Work hard to not be in a position to sell Bitcoin below $200,000 a coin. This is Jeb. This is what I believe. This is very true to what I feel is going on in the market right now. You can pause and read it. That's my stance on things. I'm going to start writing out what I think so that you can see it, so there's no confusion. This is what I'm going with. This is how I feel right now. If Bitcoin can get steady above 116, then I think we're back into bullish territory. If Bitcoin is hitting its head on 116 and falling and hitting its head and falling and hitting its head and falling, then that's where I have some concerns about the market structure in the space. You guys are more than welcome to tell me what you think in chat. Agree, disagree, love to hear it. No way Bitcoin goes to zero. Nope, it's not going to zero. It won't happen. Any chance Bitcoin reaches 130 before the end of the year? Yes, absolutely. Bitcoin just has to get back up above 116 is what I would say. Only sell your kidney to buy more. Oh my goodness. All right, guys. So if you haven't already, make sure to sign up for the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, because I want you to be able to speak this language and say, based on all of my analysis, you can make a prediction like this. This is what I think, because I'm going to run my own finances through this lens of this is what I believe. This is what I'm doing for myself. You guys are just you're just watching me do this for our own position. If you want to be able to do this kind of thing, I highly encourage you to sign up for the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. And I also highly encourage you to check out 1 Hour Financial Coaching if you have not already. I'd be more than happy to walk through with you how to build peace, joy, prosperity, and wisdom into your financial portfolio. I would love to help you in any way I possibly can. So make sure to check that out. The link in the description box down below as well. As I said, I opened up all day, Monday through Thursday, and my Saturdays, and we gave a 20% off coupon code. If you're interested, now's the time to do it. It's the easiest it's ever going to be to get a coaching call with me. So make sure to sign up as soon as possible. I really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to check out Stampseed. Stampseed helps keep everything safe in your portfolio by putting your seeds on titanium, which means that they cannot get burned to a crisp in the event of a house fire. So make sure to check out Stampseed. Get 15% off with the coupon code down below. Check out our other sponsors. Really appreciate you all being here. And before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.